Welcome to Shine Through Darkness. So I posted this question, or this comment, I should say, this comment, onto another channel, and to the feedback below, I gotta do this video. So my appreciation, my love goes out to Be More Motivation Universe. Thanks for the video. That was really cool. I just threw a comment on here. I didn't expect, the views, the likes, the comments, and all that stuff. I don't really do social media, so excuse everything that's going on of what you're seeing and what you're hearing right now. I talked to my wife earlier after going through some of these comments. I don't know why that keeps going up. Okay. So I'm just going to show this. I'm going to scroll through. I'm going to give a story. Like I said, I talked to my wife earlier. We discussed what should be added to the video, what should be left out, whatever, but I'm not trying to leave out any pertinent details. Some things may not seem right, may not sound right, may not seem like they go anywhere with the story. But what you're about to hear is the story of how I met my wife. As crazy as it is, what you're reading right here is just the tip of the iceberg. It gets crazy. Here we go. Again, whatever information I give out at the beginning, if it doesn't make sense, just put it in the memory bank. We'll get to it later. Since I was 8 years old, I've believed in Jesus Christ, Father God Almighty. That's just my belief. I don't push it on people, whatever. So when I'm 16, my buddy Tony comes up and asks me if I want to go to an amusement park. And I'm like, which one? Six Flags? He says, no, Kennywood. So I have no clue what Kennywood is, and in my head, it's like Dollywood. I have no interest. And I'm like, where's it at? He says, Pittsburgh. I said, nah, I don't have any interest in dating anyone from Pittsburgh right now. It'll never work out. It'll never work out, man. And he starts laughing. He says, you're stupid. He says, come on, let's go. Get your stuff. Let's go. And I'm like, I'm not going, man. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm not going. So he left. For 3 years, when I was 16, 17, and 18, he asked me every summer to go to Kennywood with him, spend a week in Kennywood. And my reason every year, I don't know why, but my reason every year was, I don't feel like dating anybody from Pittsburgh, man. It'll never work out. It'll never work out. So fast forward to 1997. I'm with my mom. She's kind of bummed out that the grandkids and my sisters aren't at her house yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a Christmas special going on. She's talking me into watching this Christmas special with her. And she's trying to explain it to me. And I don't do musicals, but she's trying to explain it to me like it's a concert, but not a concert, but kind of like a musical, but not a musical, but kind of like a play, but it goes to music. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's just make mom happy. So I sit down, and she's trying to explain, the orchestra and this and that, and every year, whatever. So I kind of had no interest in it until the first note from this girl was played on a cello. And when as soon as she started playing it, it caught my attention. By the end of the song, I was blown away. Like, to this day, it still does stuff to me. I was so moved by how she played that. It was just unreal. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm stumbling for words right now because it blew me away. And my mom and I were talking about it, and I was like, I would marry that girl. And she's like, oh, come on. I'm like, no, I am dead serious. Did you hear? She made that cello sing. Like, how do you do that? That's passion. Like, that was pure and utter passion. How do you do that? Like, I would marry her. Just based on that right there, what I saw, I would marry that girl. My mom starts laughing and says, you need a girlfriend. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, that is passion. That's a beautiful soul. Like, that's who I would want as a wife, like someone to be with. Like, that is just, how did she make that cello sing? Like, that, it was unreal. And my mom's like, well, I'm glad you don't fly, because then I don't have to worry about you booking a flight, flying over to some foreign country, getting arrested for stalking some girl because you want to marry her and she doesn't even know who you are, all based on a song. I'm like, I'm not a stalker, but that's just the type of woman that's a pure soul. How do you do that? I mean, dang, she made that thing sing. Okay, that is my favorite song, like Christmas song. Like, that is the one. That's a Sarajevo song, Christmas Eve, Sarajevo. It just blew me away. So, anyways, me being young and dumb, shortly thereafter, you know, after the new year, in '98, I pick up a misdemeanor. Now, to me, a misdemeanor is no big deal, whatever. It's whatever. So I go to jail, and I'm like, what? I'm not calling nobody to come bail me out, because if it's a misdemeanor, all they're gonna do is just give me some time. I might as well serve it, get out, then just plead whatever, fight. And I'm not fighting it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna plead guilty or plead no contest. I'm gonna get, like, I'll do my 90 days, and then I'll pay the fine, whatever. It is what it is. It's a misdemeanor. It's no biggie. While I'm in jail, I get into a fight. um, Anyways, they couldn't prove it was me. Nobody was saying anything. And so, anyways, they had to break up the little ring or whatever they said was going on. So a couple of us were put in the hole. I was in the hole for 16 days. I get out, and I noticed nobody else is around. Everybody got moved off the block and stuff. So I was like, this is boring. I made a phone call. 45 minutes later, I was bailed out. Now, for the next several months, next 3, 4 months, I'm thinking, everything's cool because it's a misdemeanor. I got 95 days served, and I'll just pay the fine, whatever. So I get the court date, and it's my birthday weekend. It's the Friday right before my birthday. So I'm just planning on going to court, pleading guilty, and 95 days, 90 days, time served, pay the fine. On my way out, I'm going to party. Well, I get into court. They tell me I'm the second person up. I'm second in line. I got to stand behind these two dudes that are in front of me. I'm in line. I'm standing behind them. They get charged with 172 counts each of what I am being charged with. They get 90 days in the county. I'm like, wow, dude, that's crazy. They got 172 counts. They get 90 days. I get one count. I did 95. Dang, dude. And 16 of it was in the hole? Come on. I think I got gypped. Yeah, I think I did. Well, I ain't saying nothing. Whatever. That was all in my head. So I get up there. The judge reads everything, and then he says something about, I'm not accepting this plea. And then all I heard was, I'm in 30 to 60 months to be accepted at the State Correctional Institution at Western in Pittsburgh. Get him out of here. And he slammed down the gavel. And I'm like, what? What just happened? And I looked at my attorney. I said, what just happened? She said, don't worry about it. I said, no, what just happened? I want to appeal this. What just happened? She said, I'll talk to you in a minute. Okay, side note. It's been 27 years. She still hasn't said nothing to me. I'm glad that she was not on my parole board. Okay? Anyways, I get out. The sheriffs take me out to the holding, and the sheriffs start talking about a fight, like a possible fight. There might be a fight. Two guys are not getting along with each other, so they just got to keep their eye on, there might be something going on. Anyways, I get into the holding cells at the county jail, and there's more talk about there's a possible fight. And I'm like, who's going to fight? Like, whatever, dude. I'm trying to digest 5-year sentence I just got on a misdemeanor. Like, I'm trying to digest this. So anyways, they take me to the block. And as I get on the block, everything is different. I've been there a couple times before in the last 5 years. I know that this ain't right. What I am stepping into, it ain't right. The one dude sitting there at the table, he's just staring at me as I'm walking by. Nobody else is on the block. That ain't right. So I get on the block, not even 5 minutes. I get jumped by the entire block. And as fast as they came is as fast as they ran back to their cell. So I've had it. I was done. I was done. I snapped. I was done. And I had planned on killing everybody who was coming out of their cell for chow, because lunchtime was coming up. Whoever stepped out of their cell to come get some forks and some knives and stuff to continue whatever it was that they were just doing, they're done. So as I'm just pacing around, just waiting for whoever to step out of the cell, this dude steps out of the cell, and he comes up, we're eye to eye, and he asks me one question. He says, "Have you had enough, or do you want some more?" And I was about to just label this dude, because what people don't know is, at that point in time, I had had 20 years of boxing and mixed martial arts training. And I know that these people in this jail ain't had a day of it. And he's acting all tough, asking me if I had enough. So anyways, as I was thinking about what I am going to do to this guy to cause as much pain as fast as I can to make him regret the day that he was born, God appeared. And I'm talking Father God. He appeared. He showed me some stuff. In the midst of him showing me stuff, I'm about to tell you something that's going to blow your mind. But anyways, he showed me some stuff, and I questioned God, and I said, "Is that the best you got?" And then God proceeded to show me my death. Touche. At the end of this, what God was showing me, he spoke to me. And this is what he said to me: "Do my will or your own. Choose now." I'm sorry, I forgot to start scrolling up through. My bad. Anyways, I'm like, okay, you got me. You got me. And just like that, he was gone. Everything, reality changed, everything changed. Right back to looking at guys straight dead in the face. And I said to him, "No, I'm good." "Are you sure?" "Yeah, I'm good." And he turned around and walked away. Okay, we're going to fast forward about a year, a little over a year. I get to my home jail. I start getting letters, random letters from my exes and from a couple other girls. I have no clue who they are. And to me, it's just a bunch of mind games. I don't play mind games, whatever. To me, it's a bunch of mind games. So I'm still trying to digest a whole bunch of other stuff because I've been moved from prison to prison, and the stuff that had happened recently in one of these prisons. I had a shotgun in my face because there's a story behind that. And so I'm trying to digest a whole bunch of stuff, and now these people are playing mind games, and I'm tired of it. I got to change my life because I'm not living right. And I mean, I know everything that's going on. I ain't living right. I'm not doing what I should be doing. I'm not doing positive things in the world. So I asked God, I asked Father, if it's your will, please bring someone into my life that'll treat me well, that'll love me for me, and that'll help me better myself. In Jesus' name, amen. And I left it like that. That was it. I left it at that. Sometime later, I don't know how much time later, sometime later, I had a vision, a dream, however you want to call it, of silhouettes. Remember how, like, when we were in kindergarten and we did them silhouettes, light was shining, and on the cardstock, the black cardstock paper with the chalk outline, all that stuff? You remember. That's what I was shown. And I was shown the bust of this female with curly, shoulder-length curly hair. And then I was shown a child And when I was shown each one, each silhouette, there was like hangman letters, spaces for the letters underneath the silhouette. And the first one was for blank and then a capital A, but it wasn't with the name. And then the child was 6 letters. They were both common names, but spelled differently. So trying to figure that, like, that's weird. That's a weird dream. That's a weird vision. However you want to say it. That's weird. Let me tell you, like, what's going on here. So I'm in prison. I'm doing my thing. I'm trying to do whatever. Okay, not really giving it too much thought. Let's fast forward several more months. About a year later, my buddy and I, we come on the block. There's one dude sitting on the block writing. Now we automatically know what's going on here, so let me catch you up to speed. The guy sitting in front of us, we call him Dougie Fresh. His name is Doug. We call him Dougie Fresh. He would make Hugh Hefner look like a saint. I mean, he would make Hugh Hefner look like a saint. That I don't know how to explain it without getting banned or grossing people out. So we automatically know what he's doing. He's writing some smut letter to his girlfriend, and for the life of us, we can't figure out why this girl is with this dude. Now we are thinking that, maybe she's running on candle watts instead of lumens. I don't know. We don't know what's going on, but the entire prison, I'm not kidding you, the entire prison feels bad for this girl. We can't figure out why she's with him. So E and I walk in, we see Dougie sitting there, and we walk over. Dougie, what are you doing? Besides writing your girl, man, tell me you're not doing what you're doing. He's like, no, I took your advice. He's like, I'm actually complimenting her. I'm like, yeah, right. He goes, no, I'm taking your advice. He says, look, right here. I said, did you thank her for anything, dude? Did you thank her for coming to your visit, whatever? He goes, yeah. Look, it's right here. Thanks for showing up and having, surprising me with the visit, but it would have been better if you would have given me a heads up, because I was out playing handball and I was stinky, and I don't like being stinky on visits because it makes me look bad. And I'm like, wow, dude, talk about a backhanded compliment. Like, that's crazy, dude. And he goes, no, check this out. Look. And I also like the curves in your red dress. That was a sexy red dress. He said, but it had one too many curves. He's maybe the next time before you put that on, if you lost about 20, maybe 30 pounds, but not in your breasts or in your butt, but you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So me and E at that point, we lost it, dude. We lost it. Because I'm like, dude, you had a mini excavator digging your ditch, your grave site. And then you just said that wasn't good enough, and you just brought out that big old excavator and said, watch this. Wow. Dude, you're not sending this to her, are you? Yeah. No, you can't, dude. You can't. Yeah. Listen, no, Doug, stop. Hey, does your girl got a girl? Like, not like that, Doug. Does your girlfriend have a friend, a female friend, preferably single? I don't want to hook up with no married chick. And he's sitting there thinking for a second. He's like, yeah. Yeah, she's got a girlfriend, yeah. Yeah, she's single too, yeah. I'm like, all right, dude. Here, put this in there. So he goes from writing a letter to his girl. Basically, it's not, this is Doug. This is him. Now, my whole intention from here on out is to put this letter as sideways as we can get it, so he doesn't even want to send that letter out. Now, I'm not trying to get perverted, grotesque, or anything like that. I'm just trying to make it the most nonsensical, rambling, whatever it is letter that he does not even want to send. Because who writes their girl and like gets halfway through and then starts automatic like, hey, tell your friend? this guy in here wants to hook up and do this and that. And he described me, said my name and all that stuff in this letter. And then like we're standing there just laughing because that's our intent. Just make this go as sideways, as dumb and stupid as we can. And he's not going to send this letter. So we just saved her from whatever it is. Like, dude, don't say that to her. Like, that's a backhanded compliment. She's going to backhand you. So as we're going through this, we're laughing about it. And Dougie's just writing stuff down. He is dictating like you would not believe. So he's writing it all down. E and I are standing there laughing. We're the only 3 people on the block as about 300 more dudes come walking in. Now, about 95% of these 300 dudes is from Philly. So they already know, like I said, we're all up to speed. We all know this dude. They see us 2 standing there laughing, having a good old time. Dougie can't write fast enough. They know what's up. So they all start coming over. And then once they start realizing what's going on and what E and I are doing, they all start chiming in. And I was laughing so hard, I was crying. I had to walk away. I'm like, I'm done. I had to walk away. This letter is never getting mailed out. That girl, she owes me a big thank you. Because that you don't say that, dude. Who says that? You're in prison, dude. This is crazy. So I just went off and I played cards, played some dominoes. A week goes by. And yeah, I get out and the chow's called, dinner time. And I'm on the top tier and I'm walking down the steps and I hear somebody yell across the block, "Hey, Buff, the girls should be getting that." What? What'd you say? The girls should be getting that. Now we're walking out the doors and I'm like, what girls should be getting what, dude? What are you even talking about? What are you talking about? He's like, that letter. And I got people waiting up for me. And I'm like, what letter? I'm trying to go to chow. I'm not even trying to pay attention to this dude. Like, whatever he's got to say, he better catch up. So he comes running up. He's like, that letter, that letter we wrote to them girls. They should be getting the letter today. I'm like, there ain't no way you sent out that letter, dude. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Because that letter, from what we were hearing, it went south. Okay? Because, I was overhearing some stuff that people were saying. I didn't know what all he wrote down because a whole bunch of people were saying a whole bunch of things. And it was just make it so he doesn't send it out. And he sent it out. And I couldn't believe, nobody could believe that. We're on the compound. By the time I got to the chow hall, everybody in the chow hall was already talking about that letter. There's no way that he could have sent that out. There's no way. You're not that dumb. A couple of days later, I get a random letter in the mail. Just chewing me out from some random stranger. I have no clue who this person is. I don't know what they're talking about. Yo, hold up, man. He did send that letter out. Oh my goodness. Like, this letter ain't just for me. This is for everybody on the block. So I took that letter down and I showed everybody on the block. I made sure everybody read it. The COs read it. It got passed around, dude. This goes to everybody here. She ain't just chewing me out. You better all take this personally because this is for you guys. So everybody was like, oh my goodness, somebody's going to jail, dude. Because, I didn't know who this person was. Like, I don't know what is going on. So that letter gets around and I'm like, a couple of days go by and then all of a sudden I'm under investigation. What is going on? Like, I'm under investigation by the Department of Corrections, by the state, by the federal government. Like, what just happened? Like, for what? So I get a talking to about sending this letter, and I'm like, I didn't send the letter. Like, Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not denying that, look, if you really, by the time we got done with it, okay, to keep a long story short, by the time we got done to it, I explained to them, like, we were trying not to send this letter out. We were trying to make it go as sideways as we could, just to prove a point to him that he's an idiot. You don't talk this way to people. Don't just rethink everything. Who would send that? Who in their right mind, like this is totally off the wall bonkers from 30 people at least, just making random comments, as polite or as grotesque as they are, as perverted, whatever they are. That dude sat there and wrote it all down, and I'm being blamed for it. What? Hold up. So luckily, it took them a minute, but they all realized. I'm like, just go to just first paragraph. Would you send that to anyone, or would you want someone to send that to anybody? Or, like, after years of talking to this dude, man, like a year of talking to him, he still doesn't get it. And like, this is an improvement. And then they went back and they were looking at his letters and what he had written previously, and they're like, wow, this dude's out there. I'm like, I'm telling you, he's out there. That's as perverted as you can get, man. I don't like that dude. He's out there. So they went back and talked to these girls and all of that, and they said that they would explain it to them as best that they could. But if anybody were to be charged up, it would be Doug. Like that, he's the one. I mean, because there's so many people involved that it would be like, why would you send that? Like, it's just the way that it was written, everything was implied. It was me that said it, and only me. And it gave a detailed description of what I look like, including my name. So it looks like there was no talking my way out of that one. And it's all in the same handwriting. But a lot of the people on the blog, they're like, yeah, we was all in on this. Like, it was a joke. Like, who would send that out? So anyways, I wrote that girl back, and I'm like, look, that's not me. I understand you got my description, you got my name. They said it was me. Doug said it was me. I get it. The first couple things that were said, the off the wall bonkers, kind of didn't make any sense. Yes, that's what we were saying. It was some of what we were saying. It was bits and pieces of what we were saying. It was nothing rude, derogatory, perverted, anything like that. But we were just trying to get this letter to go sideways, so he wouldn't send that to your friend. So I tried to distract him to make it just one conjumbled mess of a letter. And she's like, yeah, it went to her friend, and then all of a sudden it switched over to her, and none of it was really making sense until it got like really grotesque and perverted and just unreal. And I'm like, well, it was just to get him not to send it. That's all it was. I'm not like that. If you want to give me a chance to prove it, like, I'm not like that. I would like that chance to prove it to you. And we slowly, maybe once a week, once every other week, I sent that letter to her, and I got a response, and, she asked me a couple other questions, and I sent her a response, and we just sort of started communicating like that slowly. And, after a period of time, she told me that she had a son and told me what his name was. And it was at that time it clicked. Everything clicked. And I told her in a letter, I'm going to marry you. You're going to be my wife. I'm not threatening you, but I'm going to marry you. We're getting married. I said, so stop looking around. Just wait. I'll be out, and we're going to get married. So it was a couple of years of us being a pen pal that we did foster a relationship. She came to visit me And first time that she came to visit me, I was like, man, I could wake up to that smile every morning. Like that's a smile. So we spent the next couple of years, pen pal relationship type of thing, some visits, some phone conversations, stuff like that. And when I got out, um, I was sent to a halfway house for a week. And they said, you got to get a job. I was supposed to be there for like 6 months because I did 4.5 out of 5 years. So when I got out of the when I went to the halfway house, they told me to get a job. Um, I was there for a week. I got a job on my 7th day. And as soon as I got my job, they told me to go home, which kind of didn't make any sense because I lived 2 hours away and my shift was a 12-hour shift. Why not? What else did I have to do? I'm at a halfway house, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, they told me to go home. So I'm like, all right. So I went home. Got a ride, went home. And I called uh, this girl up. I said, hey, I'm out. And she's like, hey, I had a 4-day weekend. My son is with my mom and they left the state and I'll just swing on up. I'm like, okay. So she came up and we had a blast. It was great. It was great. And it was so great that the following weekend she moved up. And as she was unpacking stuff, we were going through different things of, likes and dislikes and like type of music. And there's some stuff that we liked and there's some music that I like that she don't like and vice versa. And she was talking about classical music. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not really into classical music. And she's like, oh, yeah, I got some favorite songs. And she says, I also play the cello. I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. And she said, I got a song that I'd like you to listen to and give me your opinion on it. And I'm like, okay, what's the song? And she told me, Christmas Eve, Sarajevo. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There's one version of that I like. That's it. And I don't want to hear anything else other than that version because they all suck. Not to be rude, and I'm not saying anything about your style or your skills or anything like that, but I don't want to be put in that position. I'm telling you from the door, I'm trying to be honest. There's one version of that song, one person did it. That's the only one I like. And she says, well, let me play this. If you don't like it, I'll stop it. You won't offend me because you're right. You told me you only like one version. And I respect that because I like certain versions of songs that have been done by multiple artists. So I get what you mean. She goes, I won't be offended. If you would just listen to it, I'd like to hear your feedback. I'm like, all right, that's fine. So she puts the tape in and she starts playing the song. And she gets about 3 seconds into the song, and I'm like, stop, pause it. And she hits pause. She goes, what? I said, hey, Mom, come here. So my mom comes over. I said, listen to this. Go ahead, hit play. And this girl continues it, and it starts playing. My mom looks at me, and she goes, okay. This is that song. This is you're her. You're the girl. And this girl's looking at me like, what did I do? Like, what's wrong? And she hit pause. And then my mom looked at her and looked at me, looked at her. He didn't kidnap you, did he? And she's like, no, I'm here on my own free will. It's okay. It's all right. What's going on? You're her. That's the song. I know that song. She goes, well, yeah, you've heard it before. You told me. I said, no. That is my favorite song. That's the song. And then I proceeded to tell her about me and my mom watching it, and I said, I would marry that girl. And you're about to be my wife. I told you we're getting married. My mom walked out. She said, I don't know how you do it, Friar. I don't know. Unreal. Lord really likes you. I said, I don't know why, but yeah, apparently. Apparently. I did not see that coming. So that was a mind blower. That she is the one, she's the cellist. That she has the cello. She plays music. She played for the Pittsburgh Symphony. She went on tour with a couple different bands and stuff, and music artist. She's lived a pretty decent, in the music world. And I keep forgetting to move this stuff. So, anyways, so we get together, we get engaged, and my wife plans an October wedding for the following year, and it got moved up because everybody kept trying to have their say of everything that's going on, of how everything is going to be made. Like, they dictated everything, changing everything that we had planned. Like, totally changed everything. It's their wedding, not ours. so, 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 anyways, we got to go to marriage counseling. That's a new thing. If you're going to get married, you got to go to marriage counseling. So I didn't know that, but hey, let's go. And we go to the marriage counseling, and it's my neighbor who's the preacher. He goes, we sit down in there, and thank you very much for that happy anniversary there. Anyways, we go to marriage counseling. My neighbor, my pastor, he's like, okay, what we're going to do is you guys got to tell me why you want to get married. Why do you want to marry her? Why do you want to marry him? And I looked at him, I said, oh, Pastor Dave, let's ask her first. Let's have her explain first, because my answer is very short, sweet, to the point. So let's just get the long answer out of the way. So my wife kind of, wholeheartedly gave her reasons, but she was kind of put on a spot type of thing, uncomfortable and all that. So he goes, okay, yeah, I can, all right, I can see that. Yeah, that's good reasons. And he looked at me and said, look, mine's short and sweet. I asked God to bring someone into my life that'll treat me well, be good for me, that'll love me for me, and help me better my life. And this is who he sent me. So I'm good. When do we get married? He's like, all right, sounds good to me. My wife, was she about livid. Are you serious? That's all he has to say? I give a detailed explanation, and that's all he has to say? I said, look, I asked God. Did you ask God for me? I asked God for you. I mean, that's just how it happened. I mean, I know I'm an idiot, but I asked God. No, that's my answer. So we got married. Now, after we get married, I'm down in Pittsburgh, and we're over at her parents' one house, and we're remodeling the house. I'm over there with my wife, and I'm like, what's that roller coaster? Because there's a roller coaster in her backyard. I'm like, what's that roller coaster? What is that? She goes, that's Kennywood. Really? Yeah. And this is where you kids live, you girls live? She goes, yeah. I'm like, so Kennywood was in your backyard? Yeah, it's right there. Did you go to Kennywood? She goes, oh yeah, all the time. Okay, how about when you were a teenager? She goes, yeah, we worked there. She says, I worked there for a few years, and when her younger sister, the middle girl, there's three of them, the middle-aged girl, she worked there when she turned 16. And her sister and I are the same age. Now, at the beginning of the story, you might think that, me not wanting to go to Pittsburgh and knowing that I got married to a girl from Pittsburgh, you might think it's about her. Nah, it'll never work out. Aha, it did work out, didn't it? 22 years later. No. Here's the thing behind that. My wife and I have talked about this, so I'm not afraid of sharing it with you guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel ashamed of sharing it with you guys. But anyways, back in the day when my buddy asked me if I wanted to go to Pittsburgh, she was working there with her sister. In reality, of seeing her sisters, her and her sister when they were younger and all that, I'm not saying that she was better looking than my wife, but when I was 16, I wasn't trying to get with no chick that was goal oriented. My wife at 16, 17, 18 years old was goal oriented. And my wife is 3 years older than me. So I'm not trying, like, she wouldn't have been my choice. I would have tried to get with her sister. That would have been my choice. Like I said, I'm not trying to say that she was better looking than her sister, than my wife. But she was more my type, my style, you know? Just a outgoing type of person, easy to get along with, like just does stuff. And like I said, my wife is goal oriented, and right after working there, that's when she started touring, and then with the symphony and all that stuff. So I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to get into that. So, anyways, my wife and I were married for 2 years, and then I found out I actually got a look at her sister's true colors, at her true character. And I haven't spoken to her in 19 to 20 years. So, yeah, it definitely wouldn't have worked out. I'm not interested in going down there because it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. I would not have went and asked my wife out. I would have asked her sister out. Yeah, we probably would have got along because for the first couple of years, we got along great. And we had fun. I mean, it was fun. And then her true character showed, and nope, I'm done. That fun stopped. I'm done. Nope, homie, don't play that. I'm done. So that's just what it is. So it's kind of crazy on how things go around, and life works out. You know what I'm saying? I have a bunch of crazy stories like that, like kind of twisty stories of meeting people, famous people, not knowing who they were, and like and them mistaking me for someone else, and then we all find out who each other is through a good, nice, wholesome conversation. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. It's crazy. But the things leading up and the things that are happening throughout all these events and stuff, like Breaking Benjamin. I don't know if you guys know of Breaking Benjamin, but when I was in that prison, if it wasn't for Father God, you would have never heard of Breaking Benjamin. Okay? All that was. I don't know if you ever heard the Scared Straight story about Breaking Benjamin, but it wasn't Scared Straight. It was real. That was legit. So I don't know if you heard a version of it or what version of it you heard, but yeah, I mean, that's just crazy stories like that. And that happened in that prison. And there's just, again, I had a shotgun stuck in my face because this dude was getting murdered. No one else wanted to do anything about it but me. So they put a shotgun in my face. It was crazy. Prison's crazy. But I had a lot of weird things happen in my life. And it was really a mind blower. Like I said, she's standing in my bedroom. The woman who did that version, and I knew it the minute that she started playing it. She hit play, and dude, I knew it. So I asked her, "What were you thinking about? Like, what was your mindset? What was going through you when you played that? Because you played it with passion. Like, I told my mom I would marry you, and I had no clue who you were. just based on that song and the way that you did it. What were you thinking of? What was going on there? How explain that to me? She says, well, I was extremely nervous. She says, I've done things like this, but this means something. She says, yeah, it's something playing in the symphony, and you're playing, a song that kind of means something. You like the song, it has a special meaning to a bunch of people. She says, but it's different when it's you. And I didn't want to mess up. She says, and to me, I wasn't doing it for everybody else because I was getting nervous for, just the setting and all this and all that, knowing that there's going to be people around, moving around, doing all this and that. She said, so I did it for Jesus. And I wanted it to be the best that I could. Just focus on playing for Jesus, just like I've been practicing. I'm like, wow. That blew me away. Like that, knowing the passion behind the original people, like from day one, that's wow. Wow. You never know what's going to go on in your life. And throughout my life, I know that God has everybody's life planned. And what we do does factor in whether we're going to get blessings or whether we are going to ignore them. Whether we're going to see them for what they are or just overlook them, take them for granted. And that's what I did the first half of my life. I took everything for granted. I mean, there's a reason why I studied boxing and martial arts. There's a reason, a different story for a different time. But even in that, the end story of that story is mind-blowing. The reason why I was taught this is because of this, but at the end of the story, this dude, the next time I saw him 20-some years later, about 24 years later, the first thing he said to me, he asked for my forgiveness. And because of the circumstances that happened way long ago, dude, I spent 20 years of studying all that stuff, and I should have never even studied a day. Like, I don't know how different would life have been, type of deal. But anyways, I got a bunch of stories or whatever, but this is just one of them. And I appreciate everybody's comments on here. How you guys all, like, I don't know, somebody commented a hat. I don't know what that means, but I appreciate everything. Sorry for not going through scrolling up throughout the whole video. I was just trying to stay on track, and if I try to do two things at once, we're going sideways. This whole thing is going to go sideways. So I just kind of want to just give a shout out to everybody. Just read down through the comments, and I don't know, why I was so blessed about different things. But anyways, like I said, I saw that girl. I didn't even know who she was. And then here it is, how many years later, within a decade, she's in front of me, standing right there, playing her music with her cello in the next room. And I'm just blown away. Like, this is going to be my wife? This is amazing. This is amazing. Yeah, yes. You don't have to ask me twice, man. Dang. But yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome how Father works. It's just we got to get with him. I don't push anything on anyone. I got enough stories in my life that, man, they're crazy. They're just all good stories. My life is filled with them. 3 books have already been written about my life, and I was 14 and under. I wasn't even 14 years old when 3 books were written about my life because of crazy things that have happened to me. But I just don't go out and like talk about them a whole lot. But anyways, people wanted to hear about the story. Here's the story. Here's the backstory. Crazy trip to prison. How a misdemeanor turned into 5 years in prison. Father gave me an assignment, read The Prison of Evil. I tried my best. I tried my best. Amazing things happened in there. This is just one of them. This is just one of them. I don't know what type of stories people are interested in, but I have all sorts of stories. But anyways, till next time, guys, I'm going to try to close this up. Just want to make sure. Yeah, okay, we're at the end. Just going to close it up. But that's the story of how I met my wife. Crazy story. Crazy story. That letter was never supposed to go out. But we all got to meet somehow, right? I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. So the next time, guys, take care, peace and love, and make sure you always shine through darkness.